Very
What
quiet.
is the total in fraud money wasted? Taxpayer money out the door.
Should we play closest to the pin?
We can,
Without
and
going
this is
over?
between 2019 and 2024. This is the Walls 10-year.
All right.
Closest to the pin wins my fondest personal regards.
I'm going to guess.
This is 5 years. This includes Feeding
Food
Our
fraud.
Future, child care assistance, frontline workers bonus pay, provider overpayments, Evergreen Recover, Medicaid, unemployment benefits, Medicaid, unemployment benefits, SNAP, Medicaid for EIDBI autism, Medicaid, futuristic management group, and others. What have we squandered under the laughable Tim Walz administration since 2019?
Boy.
Closest to the pin.
Food fraud was $250. Medicaid was about $100.
I'm going to go $600 million.
That's, you know what, Johnny? That's funny. That's almost exactly what I was going to guess.
And that figure was what, John Height?
$600 million.
Anyone else?
I'm going to go 601. Price is right.
Price is
going
right, yep.
1.3 billion.
1.3 billion. Wow. Kenny?
I know, so I'm recusing.
Good, then guess and win.
Excusing.
Ladies and gentlemen,
recusing.
since Walz took office, $543,097,460.
That was a little high.
John and Reavers were on the right track.
I overshot the
at
green.
$600 million. You were a little optimistic,
I
weren't
know,
you?
I know.
Yeah.
Matthew, if I were to guess and didn't know, I would have said $5 billion. Seriously.
That makes me feel better. Thank
So
you.
you're not, yeah.
Appreciate that. Nux out. No? Okay, thanks.
Geeks.
Feeding Our Future leads the way. That was $250 million.
That's just.
Child care assistance program was $100 million. Frontline workers bonus pay, which got all fouled up,
Yeah.
that was $45,544,000.
Jeez.
Provider overpayments, $40 million. I don't know what Evergreen Recovery was. John, could you help me? Evergreen Recovery.
Oh, that was the. Because we talked about it. Hang on.
Addiction Treatment
Yes,
Center
thank you.
in St. Paul.
And what ended up being fraudulent?
Feds launch investigation to the interviewed agents from both the Inspector Generals. Latest allegations say federal authorities are investigating the nonprofit.
Well, that was $28 million.
Jeez.
And Star
'Cause wasn't-
Tribune, you
sorry.
got to take notice of this because you can't keep passing Walz off as a national figure in politics. The guy is an utter disaster. And if you had any balls, you'd start writing that.
Because wasn't that the addiction thing, Johnny? Because I remember that story coming up on the show. Wasn't that also kind of under the umbrella of the homeless efforts that we were trying to make?
Probably.
I'm not seeing that as part of the story, but I wouldn't doubt it. Huh?
And do I have time? Yes, I do. To quickly, also from the American Experiment, also from Bill Glenn, there's a really curious Seattle-Minneapolis fraud connection. It was observed in the earliest days of the food scandal in 2022 that many figures named had made campaign contributions to prominent Minneapolis and Minnesota Democratic politicians. It was also observed that many of these same figures had donated to an otherwise obscure and ultimately unsuccessful Washington State Democratic candidate. In her 2022 campaign for Washington State Representative and an earlier run for office, Soucheray received campaign contributions from at least 10 individuals who would later be indicted in Minnesota or their spouses in the food scandal. In addition, Olau received direct campaign contributions from two private corporations based in Minnesota, a practice not allowed in Minnesota politics. Smart Therapy Center LLC of Minneapolis gave $300 to Olau in October of 2022. That was one of two autism clinics raided yesterday by the FBI in an investigation. Raided last week. By the FBI in an investigation linked to the food scandal. The other contributing business was a home health care company based in Minneapolis. You will recall that Layden Ali, the bag woman in the unrelated Feeding Our Future jury bribery case, was recruited out of Seattle. Ali has pled guilty in the bribery case. Back in Minnesota, Walsey declares that he is angry about the most recent revelations regarding state program fraud. In an interview yesterday, late last week, with the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, that's when they put on the cover how great Walls is, when above the fold was the newest fraud.
Right.
Yeah.
I forgot about the angle two of the recruitment. Remember, because it's almost like PJ Fleck looking for a quarterback. We got to go to Seattle and find a bag lady.
In an interview yesterday with the Star-Tribune meeting last week, Walls said that you've got to increase the penalty on these crimes. These are crimes against children, in my opinion. What do you care about children? You've created the best anti-children state in the history of the free world. After 6 years of looking the other way as the state treasury was looted, Walls says he's now going to get tough on welfare fraud. The DFL governor said he's fed up with fraudsters who are bilking programs meant to serve children in need. Well,
we don't know.
Well, as Glahn notes in his final paragraph, the governor could have proposed this legislation and stiffer penalties for fraud at any point since he took office in January 2019. You may have seen my ScandalTracker spreadsheet, where I document more than 24 fraud and related scandals under his watch. The running total is now over $540 million. We just went through it. It's just an amazing. We are governed in the most porous fashion that this state has ever been governed.
We're not serious, are we, Joe?
We're not. No, yes, we are, because we got old Satan to rely on. Old Beelzebub and Lucifer.
Hey,
Patched her up.
Yeah, we're in great shape. It's a hell of a state.
give me that figure one more time, Joe, because that's up from what Bill reported in August. I want to compare these two numbers.
$543,097,460.
Congratulations to us.
Yep.
Because according to Bill, August 4th, 2024, it was only $430 million.
All right.
So go
Okay,
us.
okay.
Yay us.
Well,
Yeah.
we've come up with a lot of new autism money, though. We've come up with a lot
Is
of
that
new
seriously?
autism
Is that
money.
the difference? Is the autism money?
Yes.
Wow.
And is your phone nearby, Joe? Because I just emailed you something that I'd like to read. It's from a piece I discovered in the American Experiment,
Yeah, I got a phone.
written by John Palin.
Did you email
Phelan?
it to me?
I did. GL Joe.
Let's see if I got it, Kenny.
If you don't have it,
I do have it, Kenny.
Okay.
it,
Scroll
Kenny?
down to the second paragraph of the item I emailed to you there.
Want me to read it?
Yeah, please.
The recent case of Representative Biana Vermig, DFL, exemplifies. She got Minnesota taxpayers, that's you, to pay her legal fees in a I meant to bring this up when this was happening last week. To pay her legal fees in a private workplace dispute, a dispute which saw her pocket a payout of
Hold on now.
$108,224.54. This was all legal. All 9 DFL members of the House Rules Committee voted to approve the payment. You paid so that she could get paid privately.
That third rail.
This is outrage.
How about that third rail?